Hello, and welcome to NWAVet Presents. We wanted to let you know that this video is a little bit longer than the others we've been putting out. However, there's a lot of good information in here about filing an Agent Orange claim, so I hope you stick around at least most of the way through the video to get the information. With the passage of the PACT Act, we're beginning to see an uptick in claims for Agent Orange presumptive conditions. Today, we wanted to take an in-depth look at what it takes for Vietnam veterans to file a claim and how to go about preparing to file it. We're going to look at the locations which are presumed for Agent Orange exposure, the conditions which are presumed to be linked to it, and then some information on actually filing the claim itself. Remember, always, a veteran cannot file just for Agent Orange. They must file for an illness which is caused by Agent Orange. In order to file a claim which is presumptive for Agent Orange, two requirements must be met. These are the location and a diagnosis of the condition. Both are required in order to be successful in filing the claim. First, we're going to look at locations. Now, in order to be presumed to have been exposed to Agent Orange, you have to have been in one of the following locations during the corresponding time period. First, of course, we have Vietnam between January 9th, 1962 and May 7th, 1975. This includes boots on the ground in Vietnam, on the inland waterways of Vietnam, or on a vessel operating within 12 nautical miles of the Vietnam coast. Second, the Korean DMZ, or Demilitarized Zone, between September 1st, 1967 and August 31st, 1971. This includes actually in the DMZ or near to it. For this one, there will need to be evidence that you were actually there. The VA and DOD will investigate to determine whether your unit was there and if you were present with the unit when it was there. Third, Thailand, between January 9th, 1962 and June 30th, 1976. This pertains to any U.S. or Royal Thai base in Thailand. Fourth, Laos, between December 1st, 1965 and December 30th, 1969, and that goes for anywhere in Laos. Fifth, veterans who were in Cambodia in a very narrow time span between April 16th and April 30th of 1969, and this applies specifically to veterans who were at Mai Mot or Krek in the Kampong Cham province. Sixth, in Guam or American Samoa between January 9th, 1962 and July 31st, 1980. Now this applies to a veteran who was anywhere on the islands or in the territorial waters of the islands. Seventh, Johnston Atoll between January 1st, 1972 and September 30th, 1977. This applies to anywhere on the atoll or on a ship calling at Johnston Atoll. Finally, it is possible that some veterans were exposed to Agent Orange residue when working with the C-123 airplanes which carried the herbicide. Note, filing a claim based upon being exposed in this manner will probably require some extra evidence showing that the veteran was indeed working with those aircraft. So that takes care of all the locations that the VA is presuming were exposed to Agent Orange. Now we said there are two requirements. The first is being in one of those mentioned locations in the corresponding time period. The second requirement is to be actually diagnosed with one of the conditions which the VA presumes is caused by Agent Orange. This page lists the cancers which are presumptive. Notice the last one, it is some soft tissue sarcomas, not necessarily all of them. There is an actual list of the ones that are presumed and the ones that are not on the VA webpage. This page lists the other illnesses which are presumptive for Agent Orange. Note that chloracne, early onset peripheral neuropathy, and porphyria cutanea tarda must have been diagnosed as 10% disabling within 1 year of herbicide exposure. Now, talking about peripheral neuropathy, if you are not diagnosed with early onset, understand that it can also be secondary to diabetes. So if you have diabetes and you are dealing with peripheral neuropathy, go ahead and make sure you get a claim in for the neuropathy secondary. When you are actually preparing or filling out the claim, filing for a presumptive condition takes care of the need to prove service connection. The exposure type, in the column that says examples of exposure type, is simply going to be Agent Orange, or you could put toxic exposure. The example of how the disability relates to service, we call this the service connection. That is simply going to be service in wherever, whether it's service in the Vietnam War, service in Guam, service in Laos, service at Myanmar in Cambodia, wherever you were, and the date that you were in that place. It can be a month and year, or it could be a range of years. Now that is for if you're filing a new claim for a condition that you've never filed before. If, however, you had a claim denied, say you filed for prostate cancer because you were stationed in Guam back in the 70s, and you thought that you were exposed to Agent Orange, so you filed for prostate cancer, but they denied it. They probably denied it because at the time, they were not presuming that Agent Orange was on Guam, just as an example. So if you have had a claim that was denied because the VA was not presuming that Agent Orange was there, you're going to need to submit two different forms. The veteran will need to submit a supplemental claim and a statement in support of claims. Now, if you need some help with these, your local VSO can help. However, we're going to take a quick look at the next two slides and see what it takes to fill these out. In order to file a supplemental claim with the VA, a veteran is required to provide new and relevant evidence. That is a very key term, new and relevant evidence. That means that the evidence must be something that you've not already submitted in evidence of the claim, and it must be relevant to the claim. Now, for the new presumptives and the new locations for Agent Orange, the PACT Act, the new law, that meets the requirement of new and relevant evidence. So for the VA Form 200995, that's the supplemental claim form, you're going to go ahead and fill it out as normal, except in Part 2, in Section 13, the issues for the supplemental claim, you're going to fill out the particular issue you were denied for. In this example, prostate cancer. You're going to fill out the date of the denial letter. So you're going to need to know when that denial letter was generated. And you're going to put in a note, like you see on the example, asking the rater, please see attached 21-4138 to satisfy the requirement for new and relevant evidence. Now let's look at the 21-4138. In the remarks section, use words in general to this effect. The veteran's name previously filed a claim for whatever the condition is. Prostate cancer, lung cancer, diabetes, whatever, was denied. And the claim was denied on the date of the denial letter due to the reasons. Now, the reasons are going to be on that denial letter, and it very likely could be something as simple as the record of evidence does not show that the veteran was in a location to be exposed to Agent Orange. Okay? You will go on the veteran's name served in location, wherever they were serving from date to date, whenever they served there, and is now eligible for presumptive service conditions under the PACT Act of 2022. Please accept this statement in conjunction with the law change as new and relevant evidence and review the veteran's claim for, again, whatever the condition is. Your attention in this matter is greatly appreciated. And what that will do is kick off them taking a look at the old claim and reviewing it to see if the veteran was at the location in the right time period to be exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans need to understand that the VA Benefits Administration will consider the evidence that has been submitted. Now that's important because in many cases, DD-214s or discharge paperwork may not contain clear evidence of Vietnam service or service in any of the other presumed areas. So you may have a DD-214 for 10 years of service during which you spent 4 years in Guam in the right time period, but that may not be reflected on the DD-214. They don't necessarily reflect every different duty station on there. In that case, the veteran should be prepared to provide some type of evidence that they were in the right location at the right time. Now, this type of evidence can include things like other service records. Remember, you can order your service records from the National Personnel Records Center, or otherwise known as the National Archives. You can do that online at archives.gov. I'll put the link in the description of the video. So evidence could include things like other service records, including orders placing you at whatever location or anything else that would show that you were at that location. It could include things like awards that you got for being there. Photos. Be careful with photos. There needs to be something in that photo that specifically points to where you are and the time period. It could be something like buddy statements. If you stay in touch with friends from the service who were with you, say on Guam or in Cambodia or Johnston Atoll, and can serve as testimony and witness that they were there and you were there. Or it could be any other type of records which show the veteran was in one of the presumed locations. There are Blue Water Navy records that are slowly being compiled. You can find a database at Hill and Ponton. I'll put that link in the description also. And that database is simply gathering a list of all the ships that were located within 12 nautical miles of Vietnam during the appropriate period. You can also find ship's logs that are various places on the internet, or you might be able to contact a buddy who was on the ship with you who has information. The important thing is don't just give up. If you get a letter back from the VA saying, we still don't have records showing that you were in this place at this time, keep looking. Get creative. Keep looking to try and find evidence that you were there. And it may be something as simple as a letter that you sent from Guam back to the States to your sweetheart when you were over there. But something that shows you were there. If you have any questions or you need assistance in filling out the forms and filing the claim, please contact your local veteran service officer. They can point you in the right direction. They can answer your question. They can assist in filing the claim for you. That's what they're there for. Okay, hopefully this has provided helpful information on filing a claim for an Agent Orange presumptive. If you have any further questions, like I said, you can always contact your local veteran service officer. You can also email us at info@nwavet.org. You can find us online at NWAVet.org, or you can find us on Facebook at /NWAVet. Y'all, if these videos are helpful, please take a moment to subscribe so you'll know when a new video comes out. As always, thank you for watching. Take care out there. Watch out for each other. NWAVet out. Hello, and welcome to NWAVet Presents. We wanted to let you know that this video is a little bit longer than the others we've been putting out. However, there's a lot of good information in here about filing an Agent Orange claim, so I hope you stick around